Imagine loving being alone until the shadows start whispering your name. This is the haunting tale of Israr, an artist who found solace in solitude, only to discover that the quiet can sometimes be filled with the most terrifying sounds. One stormy night, Israr was sketching, rain hammering the windows, when a shadow shifted. The room was dimly lit by a single lamp casting long, eerie shadows on the walls. Israr, lost in the world of their art, barely noticed the first subtle movement. "Must be the storm," they muttered. But it happened again, longer, creeping toward the desk. The shadows seemed to have a life of their own, moving with a purpose that sent chills down Israr's spine. They tried to shake off the feeling, attributing it to their overactive imagination. "Israr," a whisper echoed. It was faint, almost indistinguishable from the sound of the rain, but it was there, clear enough to make Israr's heart skip a beat. Heart pounding, they asked, "Who's there?" The room seemed to hold its breath, the only sound the relentless drumming of the rain against the windows. No response, just rain and a flickering lamp. The silence was deafening, amplifying Israr's fear. They could feel the presence of something unseen lurking just beyond the reach of the lamplight. The whispers grew louder each night, pleading, hissing. Shadows slithered across the floor, curling around furniture. It was as if the darkness itself was alive, reaching out with tendrils of shadow to ensnare Israr. Desperate, Israr turned to their phone. Stress, they said, overwork. But the unease grew. They searched for answers, hoping to find a rational explanation for the strange occurrences. But nothing could quell the growing sense of dread. One night, lights flickered out. Darkness enveloped the room. The sudden plunge into darkness was suffocating, the air thick with an oppressive silence. Phone flashlight on, they saw it, a figure of writhing shadows. It was a grotesque amalgamation of darkness, shifting and changing shape, but always watching. Israr's breath caught in their throat as they realized the shadows were not just figments of their imagination. "Why do you ignore us?" it whispered. "We've always been here, watching, waiting." The voice was a chilling blend of multiple tones, each one more sinister than the last. It was a voice that seemed to come from the very walls themselves. Terrified, Israr dropped the phone. Shadows covered the walls, handprints everywhere. The handprints were dark and smeared, as if left by something not entirely human. They seemed to pulse with a life of their own, a silent testament to the presence that haunted the room. The figure moved closer, whispered, deafening. The air was thick with the sound of countless voices, all whispering in unison, creating a cacophony that threatened to drive Israr mad. "We are a part of you," it said. "You invited us in the moment you chose to be alone." The words struck a chord deep within Israr, a terrifying realization that the shadows were not just external forces, but a manifestation of their own loneliness and isolation. Screaming, Israr hurled their sketchbook. Light from the sketches repelled the darkness. The pages of the sketchbook seemed to glow with an inner light, pushing back the encroaching shadows. It was a desperate act, but it worked. The darkness recoiled, hissing. Hopeful, Israr drew furiously. The shadows retreated, shrieking. Each stroke of the pencil seemed to weaken the shadows, driving them back into the corners of the room. It was a battle of light against darkness, and for the moment, light was winning. By morning they were gone, but Israr knew they were not defeated, only waiting. The dawn brought a temporary reprieve, but Israr could feel the lingering presence of the shadows lurking just out of sight, waiting for the next opportunity to strike. From that day on, Israr never stopped drawing. The act of creation became their shield, a way to keep the shadows at bay. Each new sketch was a barrier against the encroaching darkness. The shadows are always watching. Even now, as Israr continues to draw, they can feel the eyes of the shadows upon them, a constant reminder that the battle is never truly over. The shadows are patient, and they will wait for as long as it takes.